So I'm sharing screen, it's all here. I hope that everybody's been enjoying the day so far. Sabbath has gone out here a little while ago here in the UK. So logged on. Unfortunately, haven't seen the session so far, but we'll take a look at recordings. So, session entitled Omnichannel for D365. Now, before anybody starts, I know there is no such thing as D365, it's Dynamics 365. I wanted to keep it on one line, so I've shortened it to D365. If you want to be really pedantic, feel free to blame me for it, but I have no problem around that. I'd like to give a big thanks to our sponsors, Resco.net, MSCRMaddons.com, and RSM. I have to say, I actually have personal experience of the middle sponsor, MSCRM add-ons, over the years, going back probably a decade or so. Use several of their tools, things like the Documents Core Pack, and really big shout out to Attachment Extractor. It's an absolute lifesaver, especially when you're looking at migrating and people have just shoved zip files and other things on. So if you haven't taken a look at it yet, feel free, go take a look at them, go take a look at the other sponsors as well. Some really great solutions. So the personal slide, right? So my name is EY Kalman. You pronounce it EY. My LinkedIn has the recording that says EY. I'm a solution architect for Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform. I work at a small UK partner called ANS Group. I've just been awarded MVP, and I'm across all of the regular social. I blog regularly. I'm on Twitter. I'm on YouTube with an interview series and on LinkedIn, and that's me, what I look like, although normally I'm a lot more casual. At the moment I'm wearing my own brand t-shirt, and my alias is the CRM Ninja, and as you can see, it's across all of the channels. It's a really cool logo. If anybody wants to know how I got the logo using Fiverr, feel free, hit me up. I'll tell you what I did for really low cost. Not that I'll charge you for it, but the Fiverr people did it at really low cost. There's some great people out there doing logos, and I do not get paid for advertising that. The agenda. So we're going to go through a variety of things. I'm going to do a quick recap of what Omnichannel is. Hopefully people already know, but I'll spend a couple of minutes talking around the actual Omnichannel product and just where Omnichannel comes from. I'm going to talk about automated responses. We're going to talk about things like persistent messaging. We're going to talk about suggestions for knowledge articles. There's some really cool stuff around this. We're going to talk about personalized quick replies, other suggestions, where we can have suggestions for cases, mobile chat. And I've got a couple of really interesting statistics, at least for 2019, for the whole of 2019, and there'll be even more so for 2020. Personalization of sounds. By the way, when I do the typing of these things, I do the UK version, so personalization has an S in rather than a Z or a Z. But if you go on the Microsoft website and you look, it is spelled with the Z in the American spelling. The app profile manager. And finally, post conversation service. Actually, not finally, because we also have real-time translation. As I go through all of these 10 topics, I'm going to do a combination of talking about it, some screenshots, and hopefully it works, some live demos of the stuff, including a slight surprise when it comes to mobile chat, which I've never done before, and I'm really nervous about it, but hopefully it will actually work. If you have questions during the session, pop them in the chat. Dion will surface them up. Hopefully can answer them there and then. Alternatively, might leave it to the end, depending on what I feel the appropriate answer is. So with that, Omnichannel. What is Omnichannel? Well, Omnichannel comes from two words, channel, being a channel of something, and omnis. Omnis in Greek means all, so it really means all channels. And if you look at companies traditionally, you have a team handling things like web chat, you have a team handling the phone, you have a team handling SMS and all the rest of that. Multiple teams, multiple different applications. But what Omnichannel does is it services it into one place. Single agent can handle things across every single possible interface that can come in. Now, not all of them are native to Microsoft, admittedly. There are some third-party partners who have written stuff for it, such as Solgari, such as Telesign, for a couple of the different options. But it really means that you can cross-train your team. You don't need to worry about them having to use multiple platforms. It's all going into the same place and it's all there, and it's really great, which means then you can do analytics rather than having to bundle things together in things like Excel. Hopefully most people who are watching this know about this already. If not, feel free to go away and take a look at it. I've done 1 or 2 presentations before around why you should actually use Omnichannel. In the last year or so that I've been writing about it and working professionally with clients interested in it, we have seen a massive uptake, especially with things like COVID, whereby people are working from home. They can't necessarily log into multiple systems because of company rules and things like VPNs or other stuff. Omnichannel, it's part of the Microsoft Dynamics suite. You log in through a browser, you've got everything surfaced there. There really has been a large uptake in things like this. It makes life a lot more productive and a lot easier, and also lessens the need on infrastructure, because again, you don't need things like VPNs and dedicated stuff. It's all cloud-based and slightly complicated to set up. They're getting better at it, but once it's there, it's really easy to add users to it. So with that in mind, automated responses. So, I don't know about you, but if I go to a shop and I see this on the window, it gives the opening hours. Now, that's really good when I turn up at the shop. But if they don't have a website, I only know when I've actually gone to the shop. And if I'm turning up on Sunday and it says that they're closed, well, I don't know they're closed until I've actually turned up. And when you're online chatting with a company who don't have a 24-hour service, because, we're busy during the day, sometimes we do stuff early morning, our personal stuff, or, in the evening or stuff. I generally chat to Amazon reps about 10, 11 o'clock at night, rather than during the day. But when you're logging on and you see it says, please contact us, and, you hit the chat button and stuff, and then it says nothing. It just waits there. You're waiting for somebody to come along. You are in a queue. Your query will be answered shortly. And I get this sort of reaction. I haven't actually punched through a laptop screen yet. I will admit, on a previous presentation, actually, one of my external screens failed and I threw it out the window because I was that exasperated with it, which makes for some good comic humor on the session itself, which was being broadcast live. But this really is annoying. If you're sitting there, you don't know when your query is going to be answered, how long it will take, or even if there's somebody at the other end. So what we have now as part of wave 2 is we have an ability to set automated responses. And at this point, I'm going to bring something live if I can find the right window. It's always about finding the right window. So this, in Blue Peter tradition, is a page that I did earlier. Whew. Right, this happens to be a test page on my own blog. And in the corner, I've got my chat widget. And my chat widget, it's got a bit of text there around. It says something witchy or something, and sorry, dude, something else. So I would see, you can put messages in there. You can't put a massive amount of text. I normally say online or offline, or you could customize it further. We can put absolute custom messages in there. We can customize the icon as well. I haven't for this particular chat widget. And if we click in it, we then get the thing of, actually the title is "We're chilling at the bar," with a nice little message. So apparently people behind this support, no idea who they are, of course. They just happen to hang out partially on my blog. They decided to go hang at the bar and chill. They're inviting people to go along there and chill, or they'll be back later. You can obviously customize it with what you want. This is tied into the operating hours functionality within Omnichannel. You can specify operating hours, and you can specify those on a daily basis or a weekly basis or monthly basis. And so say you want to set up your hours, say from 9 to 5:30 for the next month, but 2 days you're extended, you can change that around. Anyhow, that's been in there for a little while, operating hours. But what this allows us to do is this allows us to tell the customer, sorry, we're not around at the moment, please come back, and we can specify when they should actually come back. This means the customers aren't frustrated, at least in the sense of they're not frustrated that they're hanging on without knowing what's actually going on. Obviously, they could be quite frustrated that nobody is actually replying to them, especially if you happen to do this at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, as people normally expect other people, especially support style people and customer service, to be online at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Just a general statistic. So this is really good. You can put as much text here as you want. I haven't yet tried to experiment with embedding an image. It could be. You can definitely embed a URL within that, so they could click on the URL if they wanted to fill in a form, for instance, to leave their details. But that is really the first thing within it. Now, what is possible to do is it's really quite out the box. This actually doesn't. It's ticking a couple of boxes some text. So really very nice start things. And that's the first item for automated responses. I'm going to pause there if anybody has a question. Any questions, Dion, around this yet?
Nothing yet, just telling some people that are really liking your slides and that are loving your shirt. Oh wait, that was me. Anyways.
I've branded shirt. Occasionally I put them up for competitions and such, so feel free to keep an eye on my Twitter when I do it like 2 or 3 times a year. And I have badges, because badges are great swag. It's all about that. I know this is totally off what I'm doing, but I ran a competition. Actually, somebody in Australia won, shipped it off there. They got it 4 or 5 days later. Okay, so the next item, persistent messaging. Now, when I think of persistent messaging, the thing that sticks out in my mind is about things being persistent. And with things being persistent and really staying there, sticking around, I had to put this up there, which is a great engineering workflow about should it move or should it not move. And the answer to life is either WD-40 or duct tape. Incidentally, WD-40 is not a lubricant. WD stands for water dispersal. It gets water out of it, although people use it, in motorcycles and other stuff to lube chains. But duct tape keeps things sticking there and is really, really great. And there are some other ones around there as well. So let me see if I can bring up a thing to show it. So the aim behind persistent messaging is that previously, when you close the conversation down, that conversation is closed, and that's fine. It's stored there. So if we look at what the agent sees, the agent is now, this is an agent dashboard for Omnichannel. The agent can go into conversations on the side and open it up. But what happens if the agent actually wants to see what the customer has said previously without needing to do it? Well, again, they could go into the activities, they could load it up, open it, see what it is, but they're needing to flip backwards and forwards through multiple different places. What we are able to do, and let's take this window out of the way. I need to find which window this is. There we go. So what we are able to do, and I'm really hoping that this works. It would be nice if it worked. So when a conversation comes in, let's just wait. This can take a couple of seconds sometimes. As you can see, there we go. Right, we've got an incoming conversation. Really hope this goes. So this customer is he said, right, so the customer said hi, and I've said hello back. I'm going to quickly do this, show this live. And I'll say, so the customer turns around and says, right, I want to buy a motorbike. Right, it's brilliant, it's there. But then the customer goes silent and the agent says, right, I've got to do other stuff. I'm going to close it down. Or another agent could turn around and pick it up later on. The customer's decided, he said, I want to buy a motorbike. He's gone out and then he's come back half an hour later and it's closed down on the agent side because the agent's not waiting around for the customer to respond for that long. They've got their own SLAs to deal with. And the customer replies, and I'm going to reply in the other window, which you can't see, and says, I want to buy a motorbike. So, which we had already, and now we're going to wait. Here we go. Right. So visitor 6, it's come in and it says, oh, hold on a moment. It says I wanted to buy a Ninja. Now I left the conversation. It was closed down. I've got this persistent messaging happening here. So I can see the conversation and I can scroll up and up and up. It loads the conversation into the window so that I'm able to just go away, take a look at it. Instead of flicking through a load of different places, I can do this. This is great for an agent who's gone away and be dealing with some other things, or if another agent has had it, because if they have to read all the transcripts, leaving aside the time to actually find and open it, it's taking time to read through and the customer can be getting quite annoyed at the delay on it. So this allows it to go, be immediately surfaced within the window. And the previous conversation didn't display there. Again, it's a toggle setting. It's quite simple to do, no massive configuration around it, which is really great. It's only possible to do with the asynchronous messaging channels. It is possible to do with all the different messaging channels. I mean, if you think of WhatsApp, you open your WhatsApp conversation, you've got everything already. Traditionally, other stuff didn't have it, but it's possible to do across all the text-based channels. So this is the second really cool feature for Wave 2. Okay, let's move on. Personalized quick replies. So we have quick replies within the system. And quick reply means that what we can do is we can set specific text for people to quickly surface on screen, because if you've got a whole blurb that you would normally say, hi, welcome to company X, my name is EY in this case, and I'll be your representative to help you through this thing. If you have to type that out every single time, apart from getting RSI, which you're not going to be happy with, it takes time to type it out. If you're typing it quickly, it could cause problems. You might misspell it, and it's not really the best use of your time. But as the label says, one size does not fit all. What happens if you want to actually personalize it with some of your own personal tweaks, personalized messages that you would use, phrases that you would use, because you don't want to have to go off to your system admin in a large company, get him to load in thousands and thousands of quick replies. This could be something that you would use, maybe a colleague might, but might not, but most people wouldn't. Well, I like a personalized service. And what Wave 2 is bringing now is the ability to put in a personalized quick response. And setting these up is not too difficult to do. And then when we turn around and we can actually see the experience, what we can do is, let's load the window, is we have the control for it. Right, I minimize that for some reason. Here we go. So the control for quick responses is /Q. And this brings up quick replies. So we can see all of these things. Most of these are system default loaded. I've put in a couple of other ones, and you can use slugs in there as well. If you want to go away, know what slugs are in terms of putting first names and other stuff. I've got a section on my website where I go into it in an article or two. There's other documentation around as well. But now I have the ability to put personal slugs in, and put personal quick replies which could use slugs. And if I click on personal, I can turn around and say, do I need any accessories to that? And boom, it's there. Again, I can do it and go to personal and see. It's possible to do a bit more around it, so I could put a tag against it. So I could type in something like accessories and then it would automatically bring it up. But I haven't configured that at this point in the system. So quick replies, they are personal sort of to you when you put it in, and you can share them with some other people. But again, it doesn't mean that this list is going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of entries long. In fact, if we look at all and we scroll down, we can see that the icon changes. So system default ones are this sort of globe. If we scroll to the bottom, it's sort of the user icon. And this is how we can distinguish it, which is very useful. Obviously, the customer would just see the information pop up, the text pop up on their screen. So that's how they would normally see it. Anyway, they don't know that you have it automatically populated there. But again, it's about the efficiency for the customer service agent. It's about getting them to cut down on the time that they have to make a smoother and better experience overall for everyone. Okay, let's move that out. Right, let's find where my presentation has gone. Right, I'm flipping between screens for this. Okay. Agent suggestions for knowledge-based articles. So knowledge-based articles are really cool because essentially it's a repository of information that people can enter stuff into and other people can search, and it can be surfaced within Omnichannel itself. So if I take a look here, I know it does this wonderful window resize when I move across from it, but don't know why it keeps changing, but it essentially, okay, my entire window seems to have changed here. Don't know why that is. Anyhow, there's normally a tab at the top. Let me see if I can pull that across in another moment. But you can open a tab for knowledge base articles.
And while you do that, Julia was asking, can you share your personal's quick response with someone?
So I need to go away and double check. I believe it can be set up for multiple people to access it, but Julia, let me go away and double check that one for you. But no, very, very good question for that. I really don't know why it's not showing that. My screen seems to have some wonderful problems.
It's probably because you didn't give the demo gods any tequila like William did.
Oh, William gave it tequila. Okay, I wasn't going to mention what I gave the demigods, but yeah, let's take that conversation offline. So anyway, so knowledge-based articles, it's possible to now do some cooler stuff around that. So what will happen is that you can have Sherlock in the case of system AI. So this is using AI behind the scenes. AI can automatically scan your knowledge base articles and pick up keywords. And if a customer in conversation with you mentions the keyword, it can surface it for you immediately so you can see it. So rather than going away and needing to do a search for a knowledge base article, it will pop it up there on the screen. And there are AI algorithms around whether to base it if they are relevant to this that's going on, and you can set it for the case and a couple of other bits as well. Again, it's about removing that time that the customer service agent is spending on what they are doing, because if they have to go away and search and open things up, this can take time to do. So what it can look for things like similar scenarios that are happening. It can take also the case context and the previous history into account. And there is also a comprehensive feedback mechanism, which unfortunately we don't drive ourselves. It's more the system sees how things are working and what a user may be going to look at and seeing and surfacing for it, and then suggesting. We do have the ability to surface knowledge base articles if they're on an external facing portal or website. We can send the customer a link directly to it, which I'm not going to demo right now. But what can happen is that they can see the sort of things they're being used, and the AI learns over time, and they can bring these things up. So again, it's really about all these things around Omnichannel, which the team is doing really well. I think they've taken a really good approach as to how they roll this out over time, because the product itself is 18 months old and they are iterating on it continuously. It's about time saving, efficiency, and better communication. Again, with things like knowledge-based articles, it's all about the internal collaboration. How can you do something better? And if 5 people are reporting a problem with a printer, you do a knowledge-based article around that, everybody can then see that and see the steps that are necessary for it in order to resolve. Okay, moving on. So, mobile chat. Well, here are a couple of statistics that I pulled from 2019, and I'm not going to bother reading through it because everybody can read a screen, and it's absolutely boring when people read text that's on a screen. But lots of people use mobile phones for stuff, and quite a few people are mobile first. They'd rather use a mobile device rather than use a physical device, or they're out and about, or they're doing other stuff. But they need customer service. So how do we enable it? Well, until now, it's really been a bit hit and miss, to be honest with you. So the team took a look at it and turned around and went, hold on a minute, let's do something better. And what they've now done is they allow you to embed the chat widget in mobile applications across things like iOS and Android. There are 2 ways of doing it. You can use a web view for embedding, and then you can customize things like the color and the logo, or you can use the React Native Mobile SDK, which is there in order to build their own customized chat widget on top of things. And I'm going to now try something which I have never done. I have never done before, which is I'm actually going to put my mobile phone live and show this working. Well, let's hope that this works. I have taken the precaution of putting my mobile phone on Do Not Disturb, because I'm sure that there may be 1 or 2 people out there who decide that, hey, somebody's putting their mobile phone live. Let's hit it with stuff. Let's send WhatsApp messages through. Let's call, let's text them, you name it. So what I've done is I made sure to do it. So this is live, and this on the side, I'm going to resize this window. Here we go. This is showing my mobile phone live. Haha, there goes the first ping, which I can hear and you can't. I don't know who's doing this. I'm going to find you afterwards, right? I know it was great Ignite the Tour when we all did it to certain people, but yeah. So this is my website. Put it on an app, and I've got a chat icon, and I can click it, and I'm going to say, yeah, I own a motorbike. Do I need? No, I don't need to purchase for the things. I'm giving consent, and I click submit. And I'm really hoping that somewhere in the background here, just change this availability back to being available. This would be, hold on, my window keeps being annoying with this. There we go, right. I have a chat going, which is live. So this is the mobile, right? This is taking a moment to load, admittedly. There we go, visitor 1. So I'm going to do a quick response. And I'm going to say, do you need any accessories for that? And here we go. We can see in my mobile phone, I can see that and I say, thanks. I can't spell, as you can see. Obviously, this is how nervous I am. I can't spell on a SwiftKey keyboard. That's mobile chat. That's there. You can surface it within apps. You can do what you want with it. It's really good. This is a feature which I've actually been really enthusiastic about and telling the product group that it would be really good, because if you've got customized company apps, if you think of things like retailers, you want to be able to do it. You open the retailer's app, so you could open the Amazon app. You can do it from inside the Amazon app or other apps as well, the retailers. Tesco, for instance, for the UK, Walmart in the States, they all have their own apps. You did that, you put customer service, you surface that inside back to the customer service team. That's really great. I don't need to be flipping as a customer across multiple places. So I'm really glad that that worked. And I'm just going to find, where is it? I want to move this screen. Okay, I'm just going to minimize this. Right, so that goes away. And for all those lovely people who are now hitting my chat with requesting food deliveries because they've seen the URL on my screen, I am not Uber. I do have an Uber Eats Pro account at the moment, which has just been cancelled, but I've got it for the next month. So if you want me to respond, then that's absolutely fine. I can order something for you. Just, I'll give you my PayPal details, send me the money, and then I'll do it through. Okay. On to the next item. So, agent suggestions for similar cases. So similar to what I talked about before, where we could use suggestions for knowledge base articles, we also have the ability to do it for similar cases. And this may not be the similar case that this customer has done before, but other customers, because if there's been something in the system that I can just see, and that's adorable because there's almost duplicate dogs, they're from the same litter, then it's really great to be able to surface it and see. I don't need to go through a whole load of troubleshooting. I can turn around immediately and go, have you tried these steps, which could be some more advanced steps. So using AI, again, it proactively suggests the right cases by taking into account all the cases in your system, things like context, keywords, previous history. You can also then go out to the people, the customer service agents who have been on those cases, because you can see, because they're tagged in it, and you can turn around and say, I've got the situation. Can you tell me a bit about it? And how it's surfaced is with Smart Assist, which I was going to show live, but isn't. working. See, I actually had everything set out on Friday before the Sabbath started, so I could just load it all up, and my system rebooted. So I came to it when the Sabbath finished, and it's like, I've got to load everything else up, and then this wasn't working, and no time to troubleshoot. But anyway, so the AI suggestions are displayed in Smart Assist, which provides real-time recommendations around it. And there's a set of pre-trained natural language models that are underneath it to help you find it, and that's there. And then you can just click through, find the case that you want in the list there, click through, boom, your case opens up, you can see the information. Again, to enable this is one or two toggles within the system. So far, it's mostly omnichannel admins flipping a couple of toggles and maybe putting in some boilerplate text. There's nothing more advanced so far, but that is really cool, because obviously as you're in a conversation with somebody, your case suggestions may change based on additional information they bring to the table. So it's really good. Definitely go check it out, and I've got to go find out where my system isn't working with it. The next item, personalization of sound notifications. So I don't know about you, but I remember back in the day when Nokia mobile phones were all the rage, everybody had the same ringtone. The selection of ringtones that came on the phone, one of, dozen and a half. And then there came slightly more advanced Nokia phones, and you could actually put in, very laboriously typing in, but you could put your own ringtone in, and then finally you could import things like MP3s and other stuff. And now, of course, you can really do whatever you want for ringtones. So if you're in a scenario whereby everybody has notifications coming in, you can walk into a place, assuming that they don't have their headsets on, which of course is the ideal, and everything keeps going ping, ping, ping. You don't know it's you, it's the computer next door. Now, when I did a search for ping for an image, I came up with this, which hopefully is familiar to the vast majority of people, which is running a ping command to see if an IP is actually up and running and checking your latency and variety of other stuff, which is wonderful, and I still do it for a variety of things, but isn't actually anything to do with sound notifications. It's a sound wave. I thought I'd throw the ping thing up there because I thought that was highly amusing. The first result in image search for ping was indeed the classic ping command. But what it does is it allows you to put in your own sound notification for incoming conversations. That's great because you can distinguish your stuff from the customer service agent sitting next to you. But what you can also do is you can distinguish the different type of sessions. So there are different types of chats that can come through. You can set up different work streams or different, you have different chat widgets. You can set this up on a per widget basis. So you could set up, I don't know, Land of Hope and Glory or something for sales. You're hoping you're going to get a glorious sale. And you could set up, let's think, so the A team for customer service, because you're the A team and you're going to respond to it. I leave entirely up to you what you do. Just make sure that A, your speakers aren't set too loud, and B, you obviously use something that is appropriate, because at some point compliance may want to take a look at it. So I'm not going to make any suggestions as to what you might have used that's not going to be compliant. I'm sure that you're intelligent enough to think about it yourselves. But that's another thing that's really cool, and again will allow you to distinguish the different types of things that are coming through and act on it as necessary. We now move on to the App Profile Manager for multi-session apps. The only multi-session app is Omnichannel for Dynamics 365, Channel Integration Framework 2.0. Single session apps is absolutely everything else. Everybody is used to having the ability to put sort of a custom profile together for things, whether that's you're using different browsers because you're working with different clients and you want specific websites for different experiences, you put bookmarks in, or you're doing a variety of other things, or even on your mobile phone, you've got apps grouped together in a drawer or in a subfolder or however your phone handles it. But what you can now do is we have the ability to set up specific profiles. And it's not just a profile around, let me find out what window I need to launch at this point. Here we go. So here's one which I displayed earlier. So you can set up app profiles, and you can set up what templates should be in that profile, how you want the productivity pane to be displayed, as in you want to display it or not, and the different things around it. This is all done on an admin basis, not per user basis, and of course the channels that you want to have. So here is an example. There's the customer service hub, and we have the omnichannel agent as well. So these things are unable to be modified because they're out the box ones, but if I load this up, hopefully this is going to work. Always takes a little while on my screen, but we'll be able to hopefully turn around and see. There we go. So these are the active session templates that are allowed. So this again feeds into the concept of different teams within a company. You're not going to want to have you may do, but you may not want to have, your customer service team seeing things that are coming in through sales or through a different avenue. You may want to split up customer service by region and only see that. So what you can do is you can actually build these really specific sort of apps which will show what you're wanting to do, and then you can surface that and share those apps with the appropriate users. Really cool feature. I haven't yet had time to play much around with it, but definitely going to look at that. But again, that's how you can segment your company to be much better, much more efficient, see what you're actually trying to do and get on with.
Hey, EY,
Okay.
quick question. Is that
Yep.
still a preview? Do you know? I thought it was, but I wasn't 100% sure.
I believe it's out of preview.
Nice.
I believe it is. I believe that is GA. I can double check later, but I do believe that it has gone GA now. It's definitely not saying preview in my window, so I'm assuming at this point, if it's not saying preview in my window, it is there and it is working. Okay, conscious of time, we have a little over 10 minutes left. Now, all of this we've done so far is essentially add the block box. As I said, you're flipping a couple of switches. You're going potentially into a couple of different places. Some things are done through the Omnichannel administration hub. Some things are done through make.powerapps.com, but it's really all through the front end. But now let's talk about things like real-time translation. Now, real-time translation is the holy grail as far as I'm concerned, if you'll excuse the cross-religion reference. What we've had for a while is we've had things like skills-based routing. So what we're able to do is we're able, for each user in Omnichannel, we're able to put skills against them. So you could put skills such as, I'm an expert servicing motorbikes, I can service lorries. And when you have the chat widget, you can specify what you want to put. You can put an option for what is your query about, is about motorbikes, is about lorries. And depending on that, you can go through to the agent. You could also do things like languages. Language is a skill. So you could select the sort of language that you want to do. You could surface that for the customer to select it from the chat widget, or even from a Power Virtual Agent, a PVA, could see what you're doing and do through. And then it would route you through to somebody who has the appropriate skill. That's great. But not everybody can speak multiple languages. And what happens if you don't have the ability to do this? Well, we now have AI. And what AI does is it can automatically translate, which is really, really cool. I've been playing around with this quite a bit. So I'm going to get a conversation here going, and I'm going to show you how this works. Because there are sort of 3 key bits to know around it. The first one is that the configuration of this requires a little bit of coding. It requires web resource. I've got a blog article coming out hopefully this week talking about how to set it up, because I was trying and I absolutely fell over until I realized I needed API keys, because you can use any translation engine that you want. So you could use things like Google. You could use things like Bing, Azure, which is underneath all of that, of course. But as long as you've got a translation thing going, you can use that. So I'm going to put, yeah, brilliant. I've got this chat widget. So once you've uploaded and you've done the backend settings and got all the keys set up, and you can specify in your web resource what languages you want and when to enable it and stuff. Do you want it enabled for, Portuguese, or do you want to enable it for Brazilian language? Brazilian normally speaks Portuguese. French. Let's use French. And then your agent in the front end, so you can auto turn it on. But what you can do as well is you've got this cute little button here which says turn on translation. Because what I could do is I could turn around and put, again, random example, I can turn around and say bonjour. But what happens if I don't know what bonjour means? Well, I can say turn around, translate and say, please, can you tell me again? I can be typing in my language. So if I put bonjour again as the customer, turns around and says, bonjour is good morning. And here we can see both the original text that the customer has actually used, which is underneath in italics, as well as the translated text. Now, translation is never going to be absolutely 100%, but is really very useful. Now, the better news of that is that I'm running here with, what am I running here? I think I'm running here with Azure underneath, so Azure AI Translation. It doesn't just support Latin characters, which is what most of the world uses to communicate, so English, French, Spanish, although it's, with the accents and stuff and other things. It can support other languages as well. So here are two examples. Now, the first one, as it happens, is in Hebrew, which I actually can speak. I'm not going to attempt typing it on my keyboard. I can't type it. I can speak. I can understand it. Whether I would actually understand that complete sentence about composites, not quite sure. But as we can see, that is surfaced and that works. So it uses other languages. It uses left to right, right to left. And here is an example in Chinese. And I actually got this from somebody I know. I pinged them on Friday and I turned around and said, can you send me something in Chinese around motorbikes? And they sent me this because they actually happen to own motorbikes and they used to be a test. It's supposed to be test rider, not a test driver. So I'm not quite sure what's happened in the AI translation under that. It could just be the phrasing they uses because Chinese depends on the type and different dialects and stuff. But is really there and can be surfaced. So this is really, really good. I can see what it is. I can respond. I'm not going to try responding in a different language at this point. It would then go back. So you can immediately see the potential for companies who are expanding into different areas with different languages where they may not need to bring on people who speak the language natively, or leave aside speak, but who can type it natively. If you think of things like Hebrew or Chinese, Arabic, a variety of other languages as well, you need different keyboard layouts, you need different characters on the keyboard, you may not have that. What the system is now doing is allowing you to do that, and especially if you're a company that's based in one country, but you're exporting worldwide, this is really, really cool. So I'm really excited about this, and I'm actually talking to a client around the potential for it because they are a very small manufacturing company based in the UK, but they export on a global basis, and one of their major bugbears is we have a problem when clients contact us and customers who have bought the product contact us and they can't speak English. So we can surface it. They can obviously do a variety of other stuff with translation, but if they can do a live chat for things like support cases, rather than trying to translate emails and backwards and forwards, they can do it live. This is an absolute time saver. So really, really cool. I'm really excited about that. Okay. And almost finally, post-conversation service. You know how you've always wanted to gain analytics on how your customer has felt the experience has been? Well, you could have a survey somewhere, but there's never been the option to surface it directly. Because we do like sending surveys out to see the experience. We have surveys in the Microsoft stack. First, we started with Voice of the Customer, and Voice of the Customer got deprecated and moved to Forms Pro. And then Forms Pro this summer got deprecated. And now we have Customer Voice for Dynamics 365. The really amusing thing, I don't know if anybody told whoever came up with the branding about it, but in English, it's obviously gone through Voice of the Customer through all the way through to Customer Voice. In most foreign languages, it's exactly the same. So they've sort of been taking an entire loop around. It was called something, it changed to something else, and it's actually gone back to the original naming. I'm not in charge of Microsoft branding at all and the labeling of products, and we've seen a variety of those recently around naming, but yeah, it's there. So what we can do is we can set up surveys using Customer Voice. We can set up all the different bits around it, and then we can present that survey natively And it's possible to do it with an inline survey for web chat or an embedded link-based survey for all other channels. And we can have a couple of options around configuration, so we can service it directly within the screen, or we could turn around and say if you put an email address and go out and email it. So if I bring up here we go, there's this, right? So we finish this chat. I want to say thank you. Let's see, I'm sure I've got a thank you message. So thank you for chatting, goodbye. And I'm just going to check that I've actually got the screen in which that is going. So here I can show you, by the way, right? So we had this chat. I've just responded as the agent and said, thank you for chatting, goodbye. It's come up in Chinese because my last language is Chinese. If I switch back to Hebrew, it would go to Hebrew. If I go to English, so it's going to follow you around across languages. Anyhow, so I will resurface that in a moment. So I'm going to click end. And what should now happen, if this is good, here we go. We have auto-surfaced a customer voice survey, and I can click in here and I get taken to a customer voice screen. So here it is. Apparently I'm first name here. I didn't put the slug properly. Need to go back and check that. But you got all the details that's submitted. Then you get all the benefits of the analytics around customer voice, and you can see sentiment-based analysis on things, and you can work on all of that. So that is really, really good. Previously you had to have a URL to something and you would you would paste it into the chat, which was never good. If you want all of your customers to have it, and again, you can specify this on a per chat widget basis. It's again a flick of a switch, and then you enable it, you select which survey you want, boom, it's there, it's done. Saves the agent, and hopefully you will actually get everybody saying, yeah, right, I'm really very, 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 very satisfied, and put it in. So with that, that's all the features, and open it to any questions.
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions in the chat. Have you ever had any challenges to integrate your omnichannel solutions with the customer system of record? I am referring to any systems that helps the caller or texter to be less on hold while the agent is retrieving the context of the support.
So it depends on how your customer system of record is. If it's within Dynamics 365 or Power Platform, then it's great. It's there with immediate access to it. If you're talking about another system, what you can do within Omnichannel itself, as long as the system is web-based, publicly accessible, you could surface it with logins and do a bit of automation around it. If it's an on-prem system, you're not going to be able to surface that within Omnichannel. You'd need something like Unified Service Desk where to surface it and go away and across. You capture the stuff within that. I mean, you can use Power Automates in the background to, look up things like on the email address or date of birth. You pre-capture that information, and then you could match it up and move stuff across. But usually the customers we're dealing with are already on the Microsoft stack.
Okay. And then we have another one. With the increasing number of channels, do you know if the system has the capability to pause incoming channels when the blended agents are busy on one channel?
I'm assuming you mean to say that they're not available at the moment, as in if you've got 10 customer service agents, and you have 1,000 queries coming in, that they don't all overload. Each agent has an availability for them, and when it gets to the max, they can turn around and say, you are in a queue, you are waiting for it. But it doesn't pause the channel and stop the channel totally.
Perfect. And then Dirk was asking, what is the additional license cost in combination with field service?
So at the moment, you need customer service enterprise license. I understand that they are looking in the fullness of time of splitting it out into its own one, that you could use it with other ones, but that remains to be seen as when it happens and what the cost will be.
Perfect. And then somebody else was asking, can we answer phone calls with Omnichannel? Yes, we can. You just need to turn that on.
So you can. Microsoft is releasing their own feature around it. It's not even yet in private preview, but they've released a phone widget which has surfaced, and there are other third-party add-ons such as Solgari who allow it to come in through a phone number, and then you would use it.
Yeah, because the follow-up question for that was, if yes, can we relate the call to a contact if the phone number matches with the primary phone of this contact? And I think I was a little confused by this, because I know that if you are doing a chat, that you can actually enable, to do a phone call directly from that chat, right? And also a video call.
So you can do a voice call from the
Yeah,
chat, but that's
right.
somebody who's on chat and you say, do you want to talk by voice? And then you can surface it to a digital voice call or a digital video call. That's not, I want to call
Yeah,
a phone number and it comes into Omnichannel.
yeah.
So it will be possible with the Microsoft native solution. It will look up, I understand it's supposed to look up and match that phone number coming in to auto surface the contact. With the third party solutions, there are various integrations that can be looked at around it.
Yeah, and I do want to mention real quick that MSCRM add-ons actually has that integration tool as well, where you right, of course,
Indeed, they
right?
do.
And because I've been working with them also for about like 9 years. They're great, great guys. Which is a great tool if that's right. If that call comes in, that telephone integration software actually will pop that record if it is in, it's a separate application, right? It's a little balloon that pops up on your screen. And then Dirk was asking WhatsApp or SMS. Oh, if I'm assuming if you can use it as a channel, I believe both.
Yes, WhatsApp, SMS is there, WhatsApp is
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
A
Facebook.
couple of them are still in preview, but they're
Yeah.
there. They're either surfaced natively or they're surfaced through third-party integrations with Twilio and Telesign.
Absolutely. And I just found out EY. I looked it up real quick because I was like, I know I saw somewhere that it was in preview, right? That profile manager, which was back in September. Oh my God, it's crazy.
Yep.
But you're absolutely right. I just wanted to verify that for the folks on the phone. So that
Yep.
it is a GA. And I think it's a great, great feature. And that probably explains why this morning I had the same issue that you were having, where that productivity pane was not coming up. But that's probably because of the app profile manager that I did not set. So
All the joys.
exactly.
Brilliant.
Any other questions, guys? Feel free to unmute if you want. Oh, somebody's asking, can we set that Omnichannel is the, I don't know
I'm
what,
assuming the end of.
oh, end up, yes.
I'm assuming that's going to say end of because I'm looking. Yeah. No. So there are different capabilities.
Yeah.
USD, as I said, allows you to surface on-prem systems. You can actually surface Omnichannel within USD, but if you have on-prem systems, you can't surface them directly within Omnichannel itself. There are specific case scenarios where you would go for USD rather than Omnichannel, but I'm not a USD person really.
Yeah. It's a little complicated. I've tried it in the past, but it
As
was
with
very
everything, it's
complicated.
it depends.
Exactly. Any other questions, guys and girls? Have you ever seen an implementation of D365 Omnichannel with an IVR system?
Reza, yep, I have indeed seen it. It's using the third-party offerings such as things like Solgari. So you set up the IVR within that or within a Cisco one, and yeah, feel free to drop me a message line. So my social stuff is again here in the corner here. Feel free, the CRM Ninja across everything. Hit me up, send me messages. You got any queries? Always happy to chat.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that everybody knows that there are some great articles out there on EY's blog, on Trisha's blog. Neil Parkhurst, sorry, I cannot pronounce his name apparently, has also done some really cool articles on that as well. So I just wanted to throw that
Yeah.
out there. Shout out to Neil as well and Trisha. Guys, don't forget to complete your survey, by the way. Right, for that $50 gift card. I will actually put that URL in the messages here real quick. Let's see if we have any other questions for EY. Yeah, Risa, you have to, I don't even want to say your name because I know I'm not saying it right.
Yeah, my name is it's okay. My name is Reza.
Reza.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I know a
Hey,
personal trainer
hear
here
my
in the
name all the
UK in
time.
London called Reza. It's not you,
Yeah.
is it?
No, it's not me. I moved to Canada.
Okay.
It's like constantly, because if I would pronounce it in Dutch, we would pronounce it your way. But my brain is so Anglified, is that even a word, that I keep pronouncing it the wrong way. So,
Anglicized.
there you go.
Wonderful. Anyhow, yeah, hope people enjoyed. Yeah, as I said, feel free to reach out. Don't forget to submit a survey for it because there are prizes available for those. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, EY. I really appreciate it. We're going to take a 5-minute break, and then we will be back with our last session, which is going to be Lucas. He's going to talk about Dynamics 365 Field Service ERP integration. So make sure you do not miss that. Again, thank you so much, EY, for spreading your knowledge around and taking, giving up your time to present your session. We appreciate it.